Welcome back to a special edition of Vintage Films. Why is it special? Well, it's because the day I am recording this just happens to be Friday the 13th. That's right, it is Friday, September 13th, 2019, as I record this episode. And in a special homage to that, I decided to break out the old patchwork vest. This is kind of like a lucky charm for me. I was wearing it when I made my first video, and I thought, you know what? Let's bring it out. It's been sitting in the closet for a while. I haven't been wearing it too often, but I have made some additions to it, and I thought, this is the perfect occasion. It being Friday the 13th, September. We're heading towards October. Let's bring out the patchwork vest. So we got some cool stuff. We got the Punisher here. We got Masters of the Universe. We got Batman over here. Let's see. We got the Millennium Falcon, Rebel Scum. We got Jules Winfield. We also have Serenity Patch for all you Firefly fans. And then we got Space Above and Beyond. That show was awesome. I really love that show. And we also got this one here. This is Enola. She was a main character in a short story I wrote that appeared in the Brave New Girls anthology, the second one. And she's a cool character. I really love her, and it's cool to have her on the vest. So again, we got our special Friday the 13th edition coming your way, and the film this time is a cool one. It is called Panic in the Year Zero from 1962. This one was directed by Ray Milland, and it actually starred Ray Milland. That's a nice twist here. This is the first time we've ever covered a film where the star was also the director. They didn't do that a whole lot back then, and this is the first time we've gotten to do that, and that's interesting. And it also starred teen idol Frankie Avalon, and we're going to talk a little bit more about him as we go forward. But first, I want to get into a synopsis of the plot real quick. It's a pretty straightforward thriller-type plot, and it's a neat one. So basically, it's about this family, and they are going on a camping trip, and they live in the Los Angeles area. So they got a camper, they got their supplies, and they start heading out of the city to go on this camping trip in the mountains. And when they get out of the city, all of a sudden, a nuclear bomb hits and levels Los Angeles. So it's like, boom, nuclear holocaust. And this family who had a home back there can no longer go back to that home. They got to figure out what to do next. They got to figure out how to move forward and survive. So it's a thriller in that way. It's a kind of a frightening scenario to think about. It would be, something to be in the situation that these characters are in, and that's what makes the film an interesting one to watch. So I'll talk a little bit about the structure of the movie. It's pretty good. So the first act is mostly about this family, and they're, like I said, they're doing their thing. They're heading out to go camping, and now they're stuck in this situation where they got to figure out what to do next. They need supplies. They need gasoline. They need food. They need weapons. So the father figure, played by Ray Milland, his name is Harry, he is stuck in the situation where he decides that he needs to take care of his family, and he knows that he can't just trust that others are going to help him or the government's going to swoop in and take care of everything. He knows that they're on their own, and he accepts that really quickly. And an interesting thing about him is he's an average guy, an average Joe, but now that he's in this situation, he starts to do things that he believes he needs to do in order to get the stuff they need to survive, like I said. So he's not above punching a guy if the guy's standing between him and the thing he needs, or even pulling a gun on him. He'll negotiate with them, and he'll try to do it right and do the civil thing, but if the person between him and the stuff he needs isn't cooperating, he'll do what he's got to do to get what he needs. So a great three-act structure here. It's the bomb hits, oh boy, now we got to get stuff to survive. Then it's, now we got that stuff, how do we get to a safe place? And then it's, we got to a safe place, how do we protect it? And I think it's those themes that make this movie compelling. Now, I will say that it's not a completely serious movie all the time, and I think The reason why I say that is a lot of it has to do with the musical choices, the music score in this. It's a little off with the actual tone of the movie. There's these like horns and drums and this like jazzy tone to the music. And in my opinion, it kind of clashes with the dark and suspenseful tone of the story. And I gotta wonder if that's just because this is 1962 and that was like a musical style of the time that people accepted and would have expected in a movie like this. And they used it, but it kind of gives it a schlock B-movie feel because of that. And it does at times feel like it is a lower budgeted movie, even though, like I said, I think the themes and the seriousness of the tone is enough to let me kind of ignore those things and enjoy the movie as a thriller as I think it's intended to be. So another thing I wanted to bring up as kind of a campiness factor to talk about is the fact that one of the main characters is played by Frankie Avalon, and he is the son of Ray Milland's character. His name is Rick. And in this movie, it's a serious thing. He's got guns. He's got to shoot at people, and he's always following his orders. And there's like a subplot in there where there's no more civilians. Everybody's a soldier now. And the fact that Frankie Avalon, who at the time was a teen idol known for his vocals and things like that, is in this is kind of funny to me, because after this movie, they put him in a string of these schlocky, happy-go-lucky, campy teen farce beach movies. And I actually saw several of them when I was a kid. They were on TV a lot. And they paired him with Annette Funicello, who was popular before this from the Mickey Mouse Club. And then they put her with Frankie Avalon in these happy-go-lucky, funny, campy beach movies. And it's funny to me to think of him watching this and then knowing that he was in those. And so it got my wheels turning, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to consider alternate titles for those beach movies that would go more towards the theme of this film, which would be a Cold War, nuclear holocaust, serious tone. So I went on our Facebook page, which I have a link down here in the notes if you want to check that out, and I asked everybody there, what would you rename the beach movies? How would you retitle those in order to make it seem more like this more serious Cold War, nuclear war type movie? And so we came up with some alternative beach movie titles, and I have them right here, and I will read them to you. So the first one would be the movie Beach Party would be changed to the title Beach Communist Party. There we go. So number 2, instead of Muscle Beach Party, you would have Mushroom Beach Party. Get it as in mushroom cloud? No? So number 3, instead of Beach Blanket Bingo, we got On the Beach Blanket Bingo. Neville Shute book. Pretty good. And last, but certainly not least, we have, instead of Bikini Beach, it is now Bikini Gulag. Alternate beach movie titles. Thank you. Okay, so that brings me to my final thoughts. Panic in the Year Zero. I like this film. I definitely think you should check it out. Now, I will say it's a little bit more obscure than some of the other ones we've covered here. It's kind of hard to find. I tried to get it from the library because that's something I do. I like to get films from the library. It's free. It's a great resource. And they didn't have a copy. And they didn't even have one that they can loan from another library. So I ended up renting it on Amazon Prime. So you can go to Amazon Prime and you can rent it for, I think it was like $3.99. I will say, I do believe it's worth that price to watch it if you are in the mood for a movie like this. And another cool thing is, I did, when I was researching, trying to find a DVD copy of it, I saw that there is, one point, it was paired on a DVD with the movie The Last Man on Earth. Now, we covered The Last Man on Earth on another video here on this channel, and if you haven't seen that, I recommend checking it out. Again, Vincent Price. And it's cool to me to think that this movie is considered in a similar tone to that one, and I agree. So if you like Last Man on Earth, if you want something in that tone, definitely check out Panic in the Year Zero, because they have similar themes, end of the world, that type of thing, and from the same era, early 1960s. So again, Panic in the Year Zero, Friday the 13th as we record this. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. It means a lot to me. I really love talking to you guys about these films. It's a lot of fun. And if you want to help us out, give the video a like, maybe subscribe to the channel. Do some comments. I'd love to hear from you. That's why I'm doing this. I just want to reach out and connect and talk to people. So comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff, help us out. Really appreciate it. So thank you. And until the next time, have a good one.